Today's Ask the Expert is sponsored by Synergy Home.
Well, we're back with Jamie Clark of Synergy Home, and the heat is on, or almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
So we're getting about that time. Central Kentucky, we never know if we're going to need air conditioning in April, May, sometimes as late as June. But this year we've needed a rowboat, right?
Yeah.
It's been the wettest spring I can remember in a long time. As we're getting into cooling season, one of the things we talk about is your attic. So a lot of people don't realize that your attic in the middle of the summertime, the temperature on the outside of that roof is about 155 degrees. We, installing solar panels, we've had installers that have their shoes melt because the shingles are so hot.
Oh gosh.
Well, that heat is bleeding through in your attic. So the typical home, you've got your insulation in the floor of the attic, right? Most of our homes, that's how we grew up. Well, for the last 20 plus years, we've been removing that insulation because it's filthy and dirty. And if you've got allergies, 50% of the dust in your house is fiberglass from your attic.
Wow.
And we'll go in and vacuum all that nasty stuff out. And then we go in and we actually insulate the roof line with a solid insulation. So it's not the fluffy fiberglass that looks like dirty cotton candy.
Yeah.
It's actually, we spray it in place, it grows and it fills in. And this is what we call encapsulated. So when we encapsulate an attic, that 155 degree attic is reduced at the roof line, and it's only going to be about 85 degrees in the middle of the summer.
Tim, I know you're not good at math, but that's a lot.
I can told you that.
So if you're heating and air conditioning, specifically your air conditioning lives in the attic like most of ours does, especially here in Lexington, well, your air conditioner only cools the air 20 degrees. So if I'm trying to push 20 degree colder air through a 155 degree attic, that doesn't do a lot. But as we've talked about, there's a big difference between 155 and 85, so your air conditioner is going to be a lot more efficient. The other side of this is what we call the greenhouse effect. Having this big 155 degree oven above the living space, that heat is bearing down. And if you've got a poorly insulated house, a tall guy like me, I can walk in and I can feel a temperature difference between my waist and my head because there's so much heat bearing down on us. If your attic's only getting 85 degrees, common sense tells you that's going to be a lot healthier for your home, a lot more efficient for your home. The other side, we're getting rid of the dust in the solid insulation, and it never has to be replaced. So if you do it, it's done forever. If you could go back in time just 10 years and do this to your attic, it would have saved you thousands of dollars over the purchase price.
Wow.
You know,
Well worth it.
I had a customer over in Chevy Chase, and and he's like, if I could go back to 1950 and give the builder of this house $100 to properly insulate this house, over the last 70 years, how much money and energy and environmental impact will we have made? And it was $100 difference. So insulation, if you do it right, it's permanent, never has to be done ever again, and it makes such an impact. And I know, I used to live in Chevy Chase, and we could hear Tom Leach when he's talking about the Wildcats. If you're sitting on my patio, you can keep up with the score.
Yeah.
My house was completely encapsulated. You couldn't hear it inside. So that adds an extra benefit.
Yeah.
So if we're getting ready for summer, you want to reject that heat, especially a lot of these Chevy Chase houses, the second floors are hot. This will fix it. And it's one of the least expensive services we offer. So give us a call for a free estimate. We'll come in, we'll talk about encapsulation, we'll talk about the heat is on and almost on, and we'll come in and we'll do wonderful things for you. So give us a call at 859-687-0553 or mysynergyhome.com.
You really are the energy guru.
That's what we do.
Today's Ask the Expert was sponsored by Synergy Home.
And you want to act fast and take advantage of that 20% off encapsulation. Check out Synergy Home. All of the information is on the screen.